Let's see what happens. Some technical problems today. Poor internet connection. Computer say no. And yeah, not a lot of use at the minute. So hey everybody, welcome to my channel. First off, shut up. Oh dear, dear, dear. Please bear with. This is been a real pain at the moment. For some inexplicable reason. Hi, Vlad, I'm going to go with. I don't want to be welcome to YouTube Studio. I don't want to learn anymore. I just want to be able to use my channel. Video unavailable. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hang on. Video unavailable. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hang on. Video. Hello. Oh, I'm getting super feedback. It won't cancel out either. Super feedback, it won't cancel out either. Unfortunately, this is a problem when you don't have good internet connection. Everything's lagging. Unfortunately, this is a problem when you don't have good internet connection. Thank you, Sailor. Unfortunately, I'm getting it back through my laptop as well, which is a real problem because I'm hearing myself, which is never a good thing anyway. But I'm hearing myself about 8 seconds behind. So, and it means I can't see the chat, which isn't a lot of use. I'm trying to make it work, but it keeps trying to direct me to YouTube Studio at the moment. Like I say, it's just purely because I've got a bad internet connection, so it's being a pain. So, if you can hear me loud and clear, please give me a thumbs up in the chat or anything at all to know that that it's working. I don't care. Abuse me. Throw something at me. Anything. A letter, a number, a shape. Hooray! What's the weather like there? Heavy snowstorm in Moscow. No echo anymore. That's good news. Yippee. Oh, guys. Well, we kind of got there in the end. For some reason, I'm getting chat now on my phone as well. Oh, it's got a mind of its own tonight. Guys, I'm going to get to your questions and your hellos. But first off, obviously, sincere apologies. What a disaster. I've been at this for about half an hour trying to get this thing to work. But it's just been an absolute mare. And obviously, as you know, I'm a bit of a technophobe. I'm old, don't learn new tricks. I've got a new gimbal, as you can probably tell. Something about there. And I set the channel up and everything looked fine. Went to go live. Computer say no. Wanted to do it in portrait mode, not landscape. Yada, yada, yada. Anyhow, you're here. I'm here. Thank you very much. So, I'm international. Back in the UK. I have to be happy. I must be happy about that. I get to see family and friends. The weather is actually all right. I'm an Englishman, we talk about weather straight away, that's what we do. But the weather is actually quite nice, it's been quite a nice day. But I'm really suffering from homesickness. Can you believe that? I'm really missing not being at home. And I've been, I'd say, almost jet lagged, where it's a 2-hour time difference. But it's very, I've been really struggling with sleep. My sleep pattern is all over the place. And I'm pretty much still on Moscow time. So I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I'm going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I feel absolutely shattered. So I look terrible, I know that, but that's the reason why. So, Plastic Russian is in the UK. Back here for 2 or 3 weeks maybe, we've got to see. But really just to come back and see family and friends, do some bits and bobs, tie up some loose ends and get rid of some rubbish and yeah, just generally finish up some bits that we needed to do. And I thought I would come on tonight because I haven't done a live for a little while. I've got a big list of topics at home that I want to talk about. I've got nothing here, so really what I want to talk about is the state of my hometown. That's where I'm going to start. I did a video today through the centre of my hometown, the main high street you would call it, and it was really sad, I've got to say. Yeah, I mean, I've lived in this town all my life and I have seen it go downhill, as I think, you know, everybody has really, probably worldwide, not just in the UK, but certainly for us in the UK. I think everybody can say that they've seen that. And let's face it, probably our parents said it, and you know, you kind of get to a point where you just think, oh, everybody says it and it's just what it is. But it really has taken a turn for the worse in the last 5 to 10 years, this town. The public services spending, I'm going to say the word, get ready, on rubbish bins. Oh, bloody rubbish bins. Yeah, you know, I bang on about it all the time. I'm going to be the rubbish bin man, aren't I? I know I am. But it just bugs the hell out of me. It really does. The town is a mess. And I'll post a video probably tomorrow as a walkthrough through the town. And you'll see what I mean. It is, I mean, I was watching people today outside a coffee house, sat outside on the pavement, you know, not on the pavement, but, you know, tables and chairs, in amongst a load of rubbish. You know, I mean, it's one thing that the council aren't clearing it up, but when the shops don't care about their own customers and they can't be bothered to clean up the area in front of their own shop, then, you know, we're in a bad place. And you've got to remember that this is a seaside town, and the difference between when I left to what it is now is definitely a lot worse. But it's so much more noticeable because I left this town really just the same as everyone else, accepting that it is what it was, and you know, it's just untidy. You don't really notice it when you live with it every day. But when I left and I went to Russia, it was such a shock as to how clean the place is. You know, and how much care and pride is taken, and it really was a shock. And everybody has commented, you know, all my friends have said, well, first thing I noticed was how clean it is. And you do notice that. But it has been so much more of an impact coming back after living in Russia, and living with the cleanliness and living with, you know, how it should be. It's a seaside town, it's reliant on tourism, how it should be, let's face it. And coming back to this country and really seeing the state that it is in is just, it's really sad, it really is. And I, you know, we all hope, I suppose, that something will change, but will it? I don't know. But like I say, I've done a video, I'll drop that on tomorrow. Please have a look if you're interested. If you're in the UK, you're probably not. It's another UK town. It's my local town. It's where I come from. Not where I was born, but it's where I've lived, you know, nearly all my life. And it will just, you know, give you a 10-minute, 15-minute walk through the high street, various shops, and what I saw, there was a little market going on. Yeah, it might shock you, it might not. I think if you're Russian, it definitely will shock you. And to be honest, I hope it does. I really do, because I want Russians to see Britain for the what it really is, and not this pedestal that they've put it on. Because that's something that I have noticed in Russia, that for some unknown reason Britain is held in high regard, and I don't know why. Bear with, sorry. Shut the door. Hopefully we don't lose connection. Yeah, it's it's not what it used to be. So I get why it's held in high regard based on what it used to be, but it's not where it is now. And I really do want Russians to see that, because it might make them realise that their version or their view of Russia is tainted, and it's based on a lot of media propaganda that's come from the West. And when you're told from an outside source, how bad everything is where you are and how wonderful it is where they are, you kind of get brainwashed into that. And that's been, let's face it, that's been the policy, of condemning Russia and putting it down. And I really do want Russians to. I'm not trying. This isn't a propaganda channel. It's not about me going, oh no, you're wrong. It's just about the truth. I'm not pro-Russian. I'm not pro-European, pro-English, pro-anything. I'm pro-truth. That's all I am, pro-truth. I just want the truth. I just want to show the truth. I want to answer any questions I can as truthfully as I can. And I just want people to have the opportunity to see both sides and make their own mind up. Not have it rammed down their throats by TV or by newspapers or YouTubers like me, for example. Are we ramming information down your throats? I hope not. I'm just trying to show stuff, and I hope that's what I'm doing. And that's what I want to do. I just want to be able to show the warts and all and let people make their own minds up. And really, if you look at the video tomorrow and you look at previous videos that I've done in Russia, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. So let me have a quick look at the chats and just say hello to some of you. Vlad, I said hi. Hi, Vlad. Sailor, just got my English tea ready for an intelligent, insightful conversation. Sailor, you are in the wrong place. You're loud and clear, thank you. No, Vlad, they ain't. You'll see. Watch the video tomorrow. You'll see. There are bins, but you'll see what I mean. Miss Mouse, I don't hear any echo anymore. There was something in the very beginning. Yeah, that was the feedback through the laptop. I could not change the settings on the laptop, so that was where my technical problem was. So I'm trying to be too clever. I'm trying to run an iPhone with the chat, and I'm trying to run a laptop with the chat. And I'm a bloke, and we cannot multitask. It's written, it's law. We don't do that. So I'm the living proof of that. Sergey, hi, what's the weather like there? Yes, I read your question out, but I didn't answer it, did I? So yeah, I saw you had a snowstorm in Moscow. It's like 5 degrees and snowing, and what the hell? The weather here is 20 degrees today. How often does that happen? Yeah. But at home, what I call home, an Napa, just outside of, I think it's been quite warm. Yeah, I checked my swimming pool earlier because I've got a computerised swimming pool, so I can log into my swimming pool computer from anywhere in the world, and I can turn the pump on, I can put the lights on, I can see all the chemical balance, I can add chemical to it. There's various things I can do, and it gives me all the settings, shows me the pH, the chlorine level, what the salt level's at. So it's really useful. And I was looking at that, and it was 21 degrees today in my pool. And I was thinking, yeah, that's cold. I don't fancy that, because it was 25 degrees last week when we were in it. So yeah, 21 degrees. That's never achieved in the English Channel, I know that. Check, microphone check. Sounds okay, don't worry. I worry about everything. I worry about making sure that you guys can hear me and that this is worthwhile. How much the train tickets to Sochi have cost? I think they were around 3,000 rubles, but I might need to come back to you on that. But somewhere around there. Nothing like it would be here in the UK, for example. I've got a couple of videos still to upload as well, not just the one that I've done today. I've got another one from Sochi and another one on the train. But for example, we arrived at Gatwick eventually, 36 hours without any sleep, which was pretty much our own fault. Just piss poor planning, basically. We should have got a hotel in between, and we didn't. So we were in Istanbul airport for about 10 hours, wandering around, and the flight was supposed to be about 4 in the morning, and it got delayed. So yeah, and then we got to the UK, and we decided that we were going to go straight from the airport to one of our destinations that we needed to go to. And by the time we got actually back to Eastbourne, it was in the afternoon, so it's like 36 hours. I went to bed about 8:30 that evening and slept right the way through till 7 o'clock the next morning, which I don't do unless somebody's hit me on the head with something heavy. So yeah, really jet lagged. But the price of the tickets from Victoria to Eastbourne for just two of us were £86. So over 9,000 rubles for a 1 hour journey, I suppose, something like that, hour and 20 minutes. Sochi was 5 hours, and I've got to say, in a much nicer train, the one in Russia. And that's something that was very evident on the train. The amount of staff that are on a Russian train. You had hostess service, so just like you get on an aeroplane, pushing the hostess trolley, serving you food and drink. And the head of the train came round and spoke to all the passengers to make sure that everything's okay and they're happy. I mean, that doesn't happen here in the UK. Well, it's again, I'm speaking from my experience, so please understand if you live in the north and you find that does happen, please accept my apologies, but it doesn't happen where I am. And the train was immaculate, as you come to sort of expect. And the corresponding train here in the UK wasn't. I think it's fair to say. You'll see. I'll drop a video. And it's just stuff like that. It does bug me, you know. We're supposed to be a tourist destination. We're supposed to have tourist towns, and surely the first basic thing we should be taking care of is cleanliness. Surely, it's basics, isn't it? But there we go. Yeah. So prices of they're an eye opener when you come back. You know, I had a coffee today, medium coffee, not large, not small, just went for a medium coffee from Costa. And there's a very good reason that it's called Costa coffee, because it cost a lot. £3.60 for a coffee. Yeah. Imagine if you had to buy 10 of them, how much it cost. Yeah, I know, 36 quid. But you get my point. It's crazy. Absolutely bonkers for a coffee. And the sandwiches as well. £5 for a sandwich. Just for Russian viewers, £3.60, 400 rubles. Sandwich at £5, 550 rubles, heading towards 600 rubles probably. Insane for a sandwich, you know, sort of sandwich that you would get in Petrushka. So, is that an anti-cat wardrobe lock behind your back? So we're staying with friends, and it might be a device to keep me out, because it'll work. I've proved that. I've shown how dumb I am by not being able to get this live stream sorted, so that would definitely defeat me. So it's probably to keep me out, but no, it might be for the cats. So your flight itinerary was AER East LHR. Pardon. Hey, look, we train to Sochi, Sochi to Istanbul, Istanbul to Gatwick. I hope that's what you've written. Most of the stuff I'll leave to my wife. I need to, otherwise our luggage will end up in Australia probably, and I'll end up in Glasgow. Hello Glasgow. We could probably go for a pint. Actually, it doesn't sound too bad, to be fair. Maybe I should book it. Hello all, North Sass guy. Hi. What airlines have you travelled with? So we came here with Azimuth from Sochi to Istanbul, and then Wizz Air from Istanbul to the UK. Nothing wrong with the flight. Everything wrong with Istanbul airport. It took an hour and a half from getting off of the plane and coming out through the gate to actually finding the check-in desk to get boarding passes for the flight from Istanbul to the UK. An hour and a half. And I spoke to probably 15 different information people in Istanbul, and not one of them gave me the correct information. I quickly learned that all they were doing was telling me to go down there, past here, and that's where it is, just to get rid of me. And the only way I got anywhere at the end was to go back to the last person I spoke to, stood in front of him and said, "You will get somebody here now to take me to Wizz Air check-in desk, and I'm not moving. So don't send me away again, get someone here now." And then he went, "Oh, okay, I'll show you." And he took me over to the information board and pointed at something called Celebri and said, "That's Wizz Air." I said, "Why didn't you say Wizz Air then?" He said, "Oh, because Celebri are looking after it." So Wizz Air, if you're watching this, get your house in order, because Istanbul is a massive airport. The information for people at Istanbul is very limited. The help is sketchy at best, and you guys not having any signs at all or any representation there at all, other than a piece of paper like this with a handwritten note on it saying we have a check-in through passport control at a random desk, which we eventually found, ain't good enough. So will I travel with Wizz Air again? Nope. Same as I won't travel with Pegasus, for a very similar reason, but probably 10 times worse actually. We were actually refused boarding based on Pegasus information. This was a couple of years ago. Pegasus internal communication is on WhatsApp to all of their team, and somebody had misinterpreted the Russian embassy's information and had wrote it on the WhatsApp that Russia was denying entry to the country for all people from the UK. So we got to the airport to get on the plane, and they refused to let us on the plane because we weren't allowed to go into Russia, according to them, which we obviously knew was nonsense. So we were turned away. We had to go back the next day. But obviously I kicked up a fuss, spoke to a manager there at the time, had all sorts of, initial problems, and then they finally worked out what had happened. They rung Turkey, find out that one of their employees had wrote it wrong. I don't know how many hundreds of people got turned away. And, "Oh, we'll get you compensation." Nothing. I just got bounced around for months. So Pegasus Airlines are terrible as far as I'm concerned. Make from that what you will, but I would never get on a Pegasus flight ever again. So there we go. Anyhow, rant. That's my little rant for the minute. Back to. I'm curious to also see a video with an example of UK's road rage you were talking about. Blimey. Yeah, I mean, all I'll say to that is go out and film a violent act if you can. When's it going to happen? You don't know. You can't predict that. The only way I could predict that is if I was part of it. So that's going to be pretty impossible. I think maybe I may have made that look that it's, it's happening all the time and everybody's fighting each other. That's not the case. It's not the case. But in my experience, when I was working, I was driving to work or driving home, whether it was on the way to work or on the way home from work, somebody would be on their horn and shouting out the window as a minimum. And, every couple of weeks you'd see somebody getting out of a car and trying to grab hold of a door handle, etc. Road rage is a thing. It's very common in the UK. People understand that. If you live in the UK, you understand. But again, it's probably a bit region specific as well. Certainly down in the southeast, where we're all shoehorned in together, it seems to be a bit more prevalent. So I may have sort of given the impression that everybody's fighting each other. That's not the case. But certainly road rage is a thing in the UK. Yeah, it's certainly not in the region I'm in Russia. So hello from London, Olga. You're not far away from me, as the crow flies. About 56 miles. And Renard's also from London. Blimey, why are you tuning in to me? You must have better things to do, surely. I'm grateful, don't get me wrong. You're absolutely right. London was much better and cleaner 20 years ago. My family come from London. My dad's, or was, bless him, he's been dead 30 years. 30 years tomorrow. My dad was buried. He died. So tomorrow's a poignant day for me, as I've said in a previous video. It is for all Russians, for a different reason, but the same reason. Yeah, he was a Cockney. He was a true Cockney, my dad. Yeah, it was a different time and a different place. And I will say, I think different men as well. I think the standard of man back then was completely different to what we got now. Men were men then, proper men. And that's what I like about Russia as well. Men are men over there. It was a lot cheaper too. Yeah, amen, it definitely was. There's a hotel called, yes, I know, the Yotel, I know. Do you know, that's interesting. We were so tired that I went, me and the wife, we went about 11 p.m. and decided we're going to go into the Yotel and just get a few hours sleep before the flight. When we found out it was delayed for an hour, we thought, right, we can get 3 or 4 hours of sleep and at least we can have a shower and do all of that. So we sort of decided we were going to do that, and we walked in there, and I said, are you going to ask? And she said, are you going to ask? And it was honestly, it was like a kid show, and I've got to say, I'll take the blame for this. What a couple of idiots, but I'll take the blame for it. And we were just so tired and just ratty and just pure stubbornness. I thought, well, I'm not asking. I thought you were going to ask. And she was the same. Well, I'm not asking. I thought you were going to ask. Which is fair enough. I should. I'm the man. I'm supposed to go up and ask. And you know what? We didn't bother because neither of us would ask about having a room. What the hell's that all about? But that shows how tired we were and how fed up we were with the situation at that point. But yeah, so no, we never made it into Yotel. Maybe we'll do that on the way back, or maybe we just plan it better. 2 parts before and after passport. If you have more time, I recommend Heaven Inn Hotel, 15 minutes drive. I am not. No. So, no, Miss Mouse, I will not be leaving that airport. I will staple myself to the departure lounge desk, and that's where I'll be until I get on the plane. Hi, I watched a few vlogs of London City in the last 2 days. It felt very much like Moscow. Do you see many things common between Moscow and London, even the small mannerisms? So I'm not a Londoner, I'm down south. I go to London. I've got a couple of restaurants that I like in London. They're very expensive, but I like them. And I'm very fussy about steak. I won't eat steak because it's just rubbish. And I'll only eat nice quality steak. Sam's Russian Adventures. Hi, mate. How are you? How you doing, mate? Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, so I go to these places as a treat. They cost a lot of money, so it is a treat. So I don't really go to London, and I've got to say, I like to visit London. I wouldn't want to live there. But again, London has changed drastically. From the outside, from a tourist perspective, yeah, it's probably great. You know, you see videos of London, and you see on a video you'll see Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. You'll see Tower Bridge. You'll see London Eye. You'll see maybe the museums, maybe the parks, and you'll see all of that in a 15-minute video, and you'll think, oh wow. But the reality is, you can't go and do that in a day. You'll go to one place or maybe two places. So you'll end up, to see all of these things, you'll end up being there a week or so. And as a tourist, that's fine. That's, you know, that's what you'll see. But you'll see probably some bits of London that aren't that pleasant, but you may not. But if you spend time in London, you'll see it's not, again, you'll see that it's not what it used to be. And I haven't got much experience of Moscow other than spending 6 hours there when we first came. My 6-hour impression of Moscow was that it was very clean. Here I go again. It was very well lit up. Everything was illuminated. And that the restaurants that we went into, the staff were really friendly and spoke English, which I wasn't expecting that. So that was a shock. I think London is a lot more angry than it used to be. The Londoners' spirit of helping each other out and all of that is, I won't say it's gone, but it's certainly diminished. And it's a lot more me, myself and I now. So yeah, I don't do the London thing. I don't do cities. I'm afraid I'm a Cancerian. I like to be near the coast. I like the sea. So I find city air unpleasant. It's not for me. But some people love it, you know. Olga, you agree? I'm not sure what you agree with, Olga. You agree that I'm an idiot? I mean, we can all agree on that, let's face it. Effing tea is between 2:60 and 3 o'clock. 2:60 and 3 o'clock. Okay. I saw what you did there. Please show your English relative. Are you all the same or not? Are we all the same or not? Pilot play. I have no idea. No idea what you're going at there. I mean, we've all got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. A couple of these things. My son was commenting today that I've got veins in my arm that are, or he's got veins in his arm that are the same as mine. But no, I want to stick to this channel. This is, you know, this is not a place for me to involve my family, and I don't want to do that. The world's an unpleasant place at the moment, and I don't want to put my children in any kind of harm's way for anything. So, hello from St. Petersburg. Oh, I've said it before, I want to go there, I really do. But the more I see of Russia, the more I just think I can understand why Russians don't feel that they need to leave Russia. Some, you know, I was looking at Crimea today, not today, yesterday. There's a couple of channels that I've started following. Wow. Wow. Just wow. If you haven't looked at videos about Crimea, go and look at them. It is simply stunning. I mean, truly stunning. So please go and look. So I'm going, it's 100 kilometres from us, so I'm going there. I might have to dodge the occasional rocket, but it's worth it. Hello from St. Peters. Yeah, we've done that. Hi from crazy effing America. Rain, hi. Yeah. Good luck with that. It's challenging, I think, isn't it, for everybody? It's challenging for everybody, but certainly you guys across the pond, you know, wow. I see some of the videos of some of the big towns and all the big cities, and the insanity, you know. As you know, this isn't a political channel, there are other channels for that, but it is just insane. It really is. It's I don't even know how to put it into words, really, what's going on. what some of these senators are saying. It's just, you know, and I think it's really boils down to there is no substance to politicians anymore. There used to be proper politicians that understood the world, you know, to a much deeper degree. But what we've got now doesn't seem to have a clue. They really don't, and they certainly don't seem to understand Russia. They just think that they can say and do whatever they like, and they won't do anything. They won't, you know, they're bluffing. They're bluffing. Let me tell you, Russians don't bluff. They're tolerant, and unfortunately, that is mistaken in the West for being, you know, pussies or an easy pushover, or, you know, just all talk. But as I've said, never mistake my kindness for weakness. And just because I choose not to fight doesn't mean I can't fight. And I think that's a very true statement of Russia. And yeah, I just wish the West would wake up and realise that the game that they're playing isn't a game to Russia. It's an existential threat. It's about survival. There's a lot of Russians that have died in the last 2.5 years. So it ain't a game. It matters. And it means something in Russia to a level that these absolute imbeciles do not seem to grasp. They think it's some sort of funny game. I don't know what they think it is. But they need to understand that they're playing with a people that don't play. They're a warm people, they're a friendly people, and they're a forgiving people. And they're a tolerant people. But they have a point at which that goes in the bin. And I don't think anybody would want to be on the wrong side of that, from what I've seen. So, yeah, frustrates the hell out of me, but, you know, hey, good luck. I'm going to try and catch up with this chat so that you're not sitting there for 10 minutes waiting. Hello from Krasnodar. Yeah, I was in there the other day, as you know. I'm sure if you've seen the video. Lovely. Really nice. Really like that. The park there, the Galitsky Park. Although it isn't that, is it? It's it hasn't been officially named that, but you know what I mean. It's lovely. Amazing. Both Pegasus and Wizz Air are discounters, and no wonder they save on everything, yeah, including ground handling. Yeah. I mean, we picked it for the times. It wasn't about, you know, saving the money on the trip per se. Obviously, we're not millionaires, so it's not like we're hiring a private jet. You know, we know what we're doing, but it was more of the convenience and the flight times. But when I come back, I'll be travelling Turkish Airlines, and I will be travelling, you know, a Russian airline from Turkey. I won't be mucking about anymore, because whenever I've done that as part of the journey, it's been fine. As soon as you go with these other Mickey Mouse airlines, it's just nothing but trouble. Who are you going to take with you? Take with me where, mate? 2 of us came, 2 of us will be returning, if that answers your question. Have you acclimatised yet? I started to at the end of today. So I've been struggling with the temperature, because obviously I'm used to 25, 28 degrees, and coming back here, and at night it's 8 degrees. I'm sleeping under a duvet with, you know, with a t-shirt on and shorts. Whereas at home I'd be, you know, under a sheet, basically. So yeah, the temperature. But this afternoon it was warm. It was 20 odd degrees, and yeah, I managed to get away with just wearing a t-shirt and a hoodie with a hoodie up. So I'm getting there. Back to Russia. Yeah, no, it'd just be me and my wife. So I wish I could smuggle some people in the suitcase with me, but I don't want a chance not being able to get in. Oh, I can't read Russian, but Privyet, I can read that. I don't know. Moscow is incomparable to London. My opinion is Moscow is 200 times better than London. Oh, what's holding me up in London as well? I mean, I can't really comment because I haven't been in Moscow other than the 6 hours whilst I was transporting. I can tell you what I've seen on video, but I would rather comment on stuff that I've seen myself. Everybody can see a video of a city and decide that it's wonderful or not, as the case may be. So yeah, I can't, I'm not the person to compare the two. I can compare my hometown in the UK to my hometown in Russia, because there's a direct comparison there. They're both seaside resort towns. So I can do that, and I can do that well. But certainly London and Moscow. Everything I've heard about Moscow has been very positive, and it looks very clean and very nice. Certainly somewhere I'd like to go to, and spend a bit of time there one day. America is so divided. It is insane. Food is expensive. A loaf cost me £5.64 today. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is insane. You know, I've seen the prices, you know, and I know the people are going to come out of the woodwork and say, well, it's all relative, the wages are different, and, you know, this, that and the other, and the cost of living, it's all relative. It's not. It's just not. It's not relative at all. People use that to try and make you feel better when they're screwing you over, but it's not relative. You know, house prices in the UK are, I won't say 10 times the price, but they're certainly, you know, an awful lot more, and it's not comparable to the salary. You know, a friend of mine is just had to double his mortgage. He came out of a fixed deal, and his mortgage has doubled. He's gone from £700 a month in mortgage to £1,600 a month in mortgage. It's just not sustainable. People can't do it. You understand the Russians completely, yeah, and no bluffing, in my honest opinion. They don't bluff. They're just not that kind of people. They're not talk. They're just not. Nobody stands there and goes, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. They just will do it. They're tolerant, and that's the problem. That is their biggest downfall, that they are tolerant. And nobody in the West would believe that because of the propaganda and everything they've had rammed down their throats. But if they just stepped away from the silly TV box in the corner of the room and actually did some research and saw what Russia really is, they would understand that. And they would understand that these people have been unbelievably restrained. Unbelievably restrained. All of this nonsense about, you know, what they're doing in Ukraine and war this and war that. This isn't a war. It's not. It's not, because it's a different category. Russia is very much about following the letter of the law, the international law, not this rules-based order, complete crap, rubbish, but law, legal, and they follow it to the letter. And if this was a war, Kiev wouldn't exist, it wouldn't be there, and that government would be gone, and that's as a minimum. So it isn't a war. It's a long way from being a war. I say a long way. Current circumstances. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a long way, especially when the imbeciles in the West think it's appropriate to make the comments that they do. You can't do it. You just cannot do it. They need people in power that are true diplomats, that understand diplomacy and understand that you've got to know, you know, even if you want to call it your adversary, but you've got to know them. You have to know what you're dealing with. You can't just judge everybody by your standards and decide, well, that's how you behave, so that's how they behave, because it's a different country and it's a different culture. And I can tell you now, Russians do not behave how we do in the West. They're not all shouty, chest puffed out. No. No. They're doers. They're tolerant people and they're forgiving people. But when it hits the fan, they'll step up. And there won't be any runbacks. You definitely need to go see Crimea, yeah. It is one of the most beautiful and interesting places I've ever been to. Do you know, I envy you being there. I was speaking to a guy from Sevastopol a couple of weeks ago, and he's invited us to go there. And that's Russians for you. That's that's an example of Russians. You know, first time I met him, come and stay with us. What? Yeah. And the thing is, when Russians say that, if somebody says that here in the UK, they don't mean it. They're just saying it for effect. You know, oh yeah, come and stay with me, mate. They don't mean it, because if you ring them up 2 weeks later and say, oh, you remember me? You said I could come and stay. Ah, yeah. So, do you know? I would have said yes, but it's my budgie's birthday on the day after, and I've got a plan for it. So it's just not convenient. You'll get some sort of sob story. If a Russian invites you into their home, it's because they mean it. So, yeah. So yeah, I've been invited to Crimea. We've been invited to Crimea, and I really want to go there because it's beautiful. Friends of ours have been there. They started going there in 2015, yeah, it is. Please go and have a look. Find some videos of Crimea, because your impression might be like mine. You know, a few hills and bumps and military bases everywhere. Nah. She's beautiful. Alex, good evening, everyone from Hadrian's Wall country. Good lad. Built a wall. Sesame seeds. Yeah. I'm missing my sesame seeds. I brought some over for some friends and family. I won't say who, but one of them didn't realise that you had to open the seed and eat the inner bit. He ate the whole thing. Imagine eating a pistachio nut with the shell on. Not good. Yeah, bless him. Yeah, I'm missing my sesame seeds. It's a thing that I eat every night now. They're lovely. I'm a hamster. Turned into a hamster. You know. Didn't want to eat sesame seeds the first time I saw them, for that reason. I'm not a hamster. But after I did, yeah, hooked. So I'm missing the sesame seeds. Why did the British forget that they helped Russia destroy fascism? I think it's the other way around, wasn't it? I think people need to wise up and realise that Russia did far more than you will ever find out from Western media and press when it comes to destroying fascism. That's why it is absolutely hated in Russia, and that's why it's illegal in the country. Yeah, so all of that rubbish that was going on a year, 18 months ago about the nasties and it being Russia, nah, not legal. You go to prison for that. That's what I admire about Russia. Thoughtful, precise and organised. Yeah. From a tourist standpoint, London has changed a lot in 5 years. No desire to return, sorry. Yeah. But, you know, I know somebody that went to America every year religiously, and he came back this time after going to Chicago and said he'd never go again. He said the prices were horrific and it felt unsafe. He didn't want to leave the hotel. So I can't comment about America really, because I haven't been there. I can only say what I've seen on TV, the same as everyone else, and just what I've heard secondhand from people. But I always wanted to go to America. I always wanted to go to Florida. My friends used to go every year and it sounded amazing. I have no desire to go to America now. I don't like the government. I don't like the politics around the place. And what it's doing to the country. I feel sorry for the average American citizen. I really do. Yeah, it doesn't appeal to me, not at all, I'm afraid. Yeah, politicians have very short memories. No, they don't actually. They have very long memories and they're very clever. But what they have learnt to do is not care. They have no conscience. They don't care. They are able to pretend that they care about their country and their people, but they don't. They care about earning as much money as they can in the short space of time that they're in office. and they go in planning on whatever the office period is, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever. And if they can coming to the end of that term, get in for another term, then they'll take anything they can to get in. And when they're in again, they're just lining their pockets again. And that's all they care about. These people, these politicians, they're not what they should be. They're not representing you and me. They're lining their pockets. That's all it's about. Just go and look at their bank balance of any of them. Do you know anything on repressions in USSR? Okay, no, USSR was 30 years ago, so no, I don't. That's something for the history books. I can tell you that Russia isn't the USSR. I can tell you that Russia is not a place that it may have been geographically 30 years ago. No comparison. But I don't know the history of the USSR. There's bits that I know, but I'm not the right person to ask those kind of questions, I'm afraid. How much Marmite are you legally allowed to transport out of the UK in your checked-in luggage? Isn't Marmite yet internationally considered a biological weapon? How dare you, Miss Mouse, how dare you? Take yourself outside and give yourself a damn good talking to. This is Marmite. It was one of the first things that I purchased. I have a jar of it, and that's my emergency jar. That is not my main supply, I will point out. Just in case I forget to actually buy it, I've got an emergency jar. I shall be buying more. I am currently looking, or I will be looking, for the largest available jar, and who sells it. And if they sell it in a 5 kilo jar, I'm coming back with a lot less shoes. Any of your friends considering joining you in a napper? Joining you, I'll take that in 2 ways. One, as in living, no, because it's a huge step. It's not to be taken lightly. So on that side of things, no. But as in coming to visit, yes. I think, you know, with the current situation and the job that the media does, you know, Russian bad, mustn't go there, terrible place and really difficult, and the travelling is challenging, then it's not terribly appealing for them at the moment, which I get, but they do want to come, and they've seen, you know, my videos, they see what I send them as well, and I think they're really shocked and surprised, and they certainly do, you know, want to come and visit, but it will be, you know, when the time's right, and I certainly aren't, you know, I'm not trying to push anybody into coming to, you know, like I say, it's not propaganda. I'm not into propaganda. It's not like, come to Russia, it's amazing and it's so much better and you need to leave the UK. I'm not doing that. People have to make their own minds up, and the only way you can do that is with information, and that's all I'm here for. It's just to provide information. Let somebody make their own mind up. I have been asked by some people that do want to come to a napper, not friends, people I don't know, you know, what's it like, and I'm more than happy. You know, I've got a Telegram channel. Please jump on that if you want to ask me a question, because it's direct to me and I'll respond directly to you. So if you are curious, if there's something that you want to ask, if there's something you want to see, if I can accommodate that, if I can, you know, video it, it might not be straight away, but if I can, I will. And I'm more than happy to, you know, show you. You're not going to get propaganda, and if you come on my channel with a load of propaganda, YouTube will kick you off, or I will, one of the two. But if you're genuinely interested, then come on to the Telegram channel and ask me. Will you be joining any festivities tomorrow, May the 9th, Victory Day? So, for me, May the 9th is a bit of a sombre day. My dad was my best friend. So, you know, tomorrow is a day that I remember. He's been gone 30 years. And I still will shed a tear about that. 30 years. So, it's not really a day that I celebrate. And, you know, prior to, you know, knowing anything about Russia, I didn't even know what May the 9th was. I didn't know that it was a big deal or anything, you know, because, yeah, I'm a stupid, ignorant English person. And I can say that because I'm saying it about myself. So nobody can poke at me because I'm telling you that I'm stupid and I'm ignorant, because I am. So yeah, May the 9th, I won't be joining any festivities, mainly because I'm in the UK and there ain't any. You're right, America came late to the fight. Do you know what, Rain? It wouldn't matter if they came early, sweetheart. Yeah. I mean, if wars were won on propaganda and media, America would win every single war. But how's their track record? Not great, is it? It's only going to get worse. So wars ain't won like that. Wars are won by men going to fight. And standing in Russia and seeing what I've seen of the men that are there, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I know where I'd be putting my money. What will you take with you from England to Russia? Marmite. Marmite. I'm going to have to put a header on my channel so everybody knows I've come to England for Marmite. Yeah, we'll be taking Marmite. I shall be taking some trainers, some new shoes. I shall also be taking my boots that I left behind. So I went all through the winter last year without any boots at all. My wife actually asked me today if I wouldn't mind leaving one of my pairs of boots behind so that I would have more room in my suitcase for her stuff. You women, I tell you. Oh, you got some cheek. So no, I said, I might even buy another pair of boots out of spite. So clearly I've got too much room in my suitcase. America is awful, not too bad in the woods where I live, but does not feel very free. Again, from what I've seen, it's not a place that attracts me anymore. I don't want to go there. I'm not, I feel sorry for Americans that have to put up with it. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there are Americans that are very happy. There are Americans that live very well. I'm not stupid, I understand this. There's an awful lot of Americans that... I just wish Americans would do some research. I just wish that they would open their eyes a little bit and become a little bit more intelligent. Just do some basic research, and I wish that they would understand that the world isn't America. The world's a big place, and America isn't the world. I wish that they would understand that. America seems to have a lot of world championships. What? Do you know what I mean? You can't have a world championship in a country. It's for everybody, but they have a lot of world championships, which seems to be a bit, part of the brainwashing. Most Americans haven't left America. Most Americans don't hold a passport. It just really needs to change. They need to open their eyes and wise up to the world so that they're not led down a path. It's sad. In Wyoming, far from crazy society, but it's creeping in here too. Hey, you're in Wyoming. I've watched Yellowstone. Don't tell me it's not crazy society. That Dutton geezer taking people to the train station. What's that about? Dodgy geezers. Oh dear. Come on, chat. Laptop say no. I'm presuming that Anapa is warmer than further up north in Russia. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, so it's on the coast of the Black Sea. It's a holiday resort. It's a holiday destination for Russians as well as people from around the world. And yeah, it's same climate as Tenerife. It's that kind of parallel, that kind of, what do you call it? Line across the equator. Parallel, I'm not sure. But yeah, south of France, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, that kind of climate. Yeah. Or otherwise known as lovely. That's the old Indian word for it, lovely. For how many years has your wife tried to persuade you to visit Russia until you actually made your first trip to Russia? So, put me on the spot here, and I know my wife will watch this. I think we were together about 16 months before I actually went to Russia. And she didn't persuade me, to be fair. She merely said she wanted to be warm, and she had actually gone back to Russia, and I stayed in the UK and didn't go. And she came back with a tan, and I was like, oh, and some nice photos, and I was like, bit curious. But no, she didn't twist my arm. It wasn't any pressure. It was just, you know, we can have a. It was really, I was bushwhacked, as you Wyomingites might say. I was snuck up on. She used the two-pronged attack of warm weather and a free holiday, which I fell for. Yeah. So off we toddled, and the rest, as they say, is history. You're not stupid, or I'm going to say or ignorant. You might be saying you're not stupid, just ignorant. It's because of work and solving the problems of just living. You have no time like now to sit the entire day behind the computer to look at everything. It's not because of work. I am retired. Yes, I am living my best life right now. Not something that would have been possible if I hadn't met my wife. Most remarkable woman I've ever met, without a doubt. Is our life perfect? Is it all sunshine and rainbows? No. Do we bicker at times? Am I unfair to her at times? Yes. Is she unfair to me at times? Yes. That's a marriage. But I love her with every fibre of my being. She is the most amazing woman. I don't show it as anywhere near as much as I should. And wife, when you're looking later, I absolutely adore you. She is the reason that I'm here, and I genuinely believe that, because I was in the rat race of work's the most important thing. Got to work, got to strive, got to push, got to get better, got to buy a better car, need to be bigger house, need to, you know, debt. That's where I was, and it would have killed me without a doubt. You know, I wasn't far off of having a nervous breakdown, I don't think. So, yeah, I am officially retired, and that's been possible because of my wife. Because she turned around and said, I don't care about money, I'll live in a tent with you as long as I've got you. So, you know, when you have that kind of support, you can do the maths, and you know, you can trust it and just sort of think, do you know what? Because as a bloke, we'll take hardship, you know, but when you've got a family around you, as a man, you have to step up, and you have to understand you've got responsibilities, and you do what you have to do to ensure that there's food on the table. And I've done that for many, many years. But when you have a woman that says, I don't care about money, that changes things, and you can look at the world in a different perspective. And that's what happened to me, and that's why I'm now living my best life, and it's why I'm now retired. So definitely not work. Does your local city have a parade tomorrow, Victory Day parade just in Moscow? Honestly, I don't know, and there's the ignorance. I don't know. Given what I do know about Russians, I believe that every town and village will be marking the day in some way. I don't know if celebrate is the right word, but they will definitely be marking the day, without a doubt. And obviously I'm not there. Napa is indeed much warmer. It's a holiday area by seaside. Yeah, it is. I suggest you learn a bit of history of the country you live in right now and put off the pinky glasses, otherwise you might get a hard shock one day. Type num. Yeah. When was the last time you were in Russia? When was the last time you were in Ukraine? Is it really me that needs to do my homework? Is it really me that's got pinky glasses on? because I'm an Englishman, so I can live in England and have done all my life. I can live in Russia, so I can choose to go where I want to go. So is it really me? Ask yourself that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you live in Russia now. But with a comment like that, I ain't so sure. God, I've just discovered all sorts of things I can do with people. Look at that. Put user in timeout. Oh. Poof. It's magic. Gone. Oh, well. That's what I do with politics. You can purchase an additional checked-in luggage item with both Wizz Air and Pegasus, even after booking the original flight tickets. Yeah, you can, but I wouldn't trust them to read me the date correctly. So, yeah, no. Oh dear, 1 minute I'm keeping up with the chat, and the next minute it's whizzing by. Stopping by to say hello while it's a bit. Hi Dan, hope you're keeping well. Sorry, I'm way behind on the chat. Hope you're keeping well. I think you are heading back, I believe. I think I saw. I haven't been keeping up with the video, so forgive me. But I think I saw that you're heading back. So if you're heading back, hurry up. And if you're already back, well done. Let's jump on a live or something if you want to. More than up for that. It was fun. Please go somewhere else with your clever trolling. We all know that Crimea forever will be Russia. We do, yes. I mean, I'll let that slide because it's a statement of fact. So that's an easy one, isn't it? Tenerife weather in Napa sounds just the kind of climate. It is. It's a nice breeze. That's what I liked about Gran Canaria. There's a constant breeze. I don't like to be hot and sweaty and horrible. So there's a nice breeze there pretty much all the time. The sea is amazing, apart from the jellyfish. Mentioned that before. Horrible purple things. Yeah. And seaweed, algae, algae season. You know, some people really make a big thing about it, but God, they want to come to a beach in the UK. Trust me. When yeah, I won't go there. It's a family show. But think of your worst kind of idea of sea and sewage outlets. Trust me, a Napa Sea is unreal. Dan, people want to know, are you back? Are you sleeping? Is it late in Siberia? Since yesterday he's back. Okay. Right. I'm retired as well. Oh, there's lots of message deleted. Type num, so I guess he said a lot of crap. Oh well. Bump, gone. Where would you choose to live if money was not an issue? Sailor, that is a good question. That is a good question. That really is. God, this looks like a horror channel now, I've just noticed. I've asked myself this because I think most people plan for the future in one way or another, and I've got some plans, that if all the stars align and everything, then our lives, my family's lives, could change drastically. But it's all pipe dreams. But we've got to have pipe dreams. So I have thought about it. You daydream and if money was no object, blah blah blah. Right now, given the way the world is, definitely Russia, without a doubt, because I genuinely believe it's the safest country on earth. And that will surprise a lot of people, and a lot of people will go, don't be ridiculous, and blah, blah, blah. I'm 100 kilometres from an alleged war zone. Well, not an alleged war zone. In fact, it's, people are dying. There's people dying in trenches there on both sides. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen. and it isn't the fault of either country. That's the thing. So let's move on from that. But I believe I'm in the safest country. So certainly at the moment, without a doubt, the answer is Russia. Going forward, I can't find anything wrong with Russia. So, you know, yes, I'm an Englishman, and if England was the country it used to be, maybe I'd answer differently, but it isn't. And it's got a long way to go to get back there, if it ever can. I'd like to think it can, you know. I really would. I've got family here. I want them, you know, I want to know that the country's going to be there for them. And at the moment, I don't believe it is. So my answer, I'm afraid, is Russia. It's not going to be a popular answer with some people, but there it is. How old are you? 57. I'm a ventriloquist. I did that without even moving my fingers to type it. How good's that? Beaches and rivers in the UK, very polluted now, as water boards have been polluted. They've been polluted for a long time. I mean, there was a sewage leak into the sea about 18 months ago, and I did a video of it, and it's, yeah, it's horrendous. Yeah. At the end of the day, if you keep building houses on floodplain water and you haven't got adequate water treatment for all these additional houses and everything else, if you overload a system, you're going to break it. It's going to break. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter what system it is. Whoever's got his phone, mouse, call him for a shorter answer. There's 13 minutes between a question and an answer. That's a long time. I'm English, it's what we do. Talk a lot. Money and object, same answer as you. Yeah. Fun fact or myth, sorry, can't confirm. Some retired British intelligence officer once was interviewed on a Russian TV. Okay. Well, somebody once said that maybe I'm an agent. And I said, if I am, I want my money. Because if I am, I'm owed some salary. Because I haven't had it. The cheque has not been in the post. So if I am an agent, pay me. And I just want my back pay. Just so you know. Not interested in going forward because I'm retired. But if I am an agent, pay me. I want me dollars. He said the Foreign Office rotates diplomats in Moscow every 2 years, whereas it's 4 for other countries. Answering the question why, he smiled like a Cheshire cat. They fall in love. Okay. If you don't like something about the particular stream, you always have an option of quitting the chat and unsubscribe. Yeah, do you know what? This stream is... it's borderline egotistical, isn't it? It's me talking and saying what I like because I can, with some people that isn't a captive audience. You're tuned in and watching me because you want to, and some people will quit and they've just lost 2. There you go, there's a good example. Everybody has the off button if they're not happy, and that's YouTube, isn't it? That's the beauty of YouTube. If you're watching something and you don't like it, you can bounce off and go and watch one of a million other videos. I'm not trying to be horrible. I'm not trying to make content for clicks. I'm not trying to gain, you know, some sort of random numbers or anything. I'm just trying to be a normal, down-to-earth guy without any airs or graces, trying to give people an insight into the 2 countries that I have some knowledge of, Russia and the UK. Research private company profit. Yeah, there you go. Nail on the head. Bemsy Smith, nail on the head. That's the difference. Privatise it, and it's all about the money. Very evident that in Russia when you come to gas and electric, because it's state-owned. Guess what? It's cheap, like the budgie. How good or bad is your Russian? So, according to Duolingo, I know 330 words. Yeah. It's abysmally terrible, is the honest answer. I can understand some stuff, ish. Biggest problem I have is I'm a perfectionist by nature. So the biggest problem I have is actually talking and starting to talk, because I just want to speak correctly, or I want to speak in a way that I think somebody can understand me. And it's unnerving and quite embarrassing if you say something and they go, what? You obviously, you're not even in the ballpark, are you, if they don't understand the word that you've said. And I think that's the hardest thing with any language, is actually speaking it. Once you start to speak it, it then becomes easier. So that's the thing, you know. And, you know, our local shops, I will say hello, I'll say goodbye, I'll say please, I'll say thank you. But not all the time. I'll revert back to English, which is painful. But just through embarrassment, I suppose, because I'm just struggling with the language. Me personally, other people, you know, I've seen people on the internet learning it in 3 or 4 months. They really should be working for Elon, I think, on rockets, if they're doing that. Because it's so hard, it really is. Do you have permanent residency in Russia? No, I do not. Privatised rail network, no service and dirty. Yeah, same thing. Stupid prices. And that's what happens. Is, you know, I mean, it's just real basic stuff, isn't it? You know, it really is the most basic of things. If you privatise anything, if you turn it into a business where that business has obligations to shareholders and to return dividends, as with all businesses, when you get a hatchet man in, the first thing he does is cut costs. Doesn't grow the business. The first thing any hatchet man in a business does is cut costs. He walks in the door and says, you can't have pens, you can only have pencils. You can't have A4 notepads, you can have, you know, A5 notepads. Do you know what I mean? That's the first thing that happens. And he looks great on paper. And I've certainly seen this in my working career, where a hatchet man will come in and in 2 years he'll turn a business around. But he turns it around in such a ruthless way that the staff hate it. It's terrible. And he does an amazing job and it looks great on his CV, and then he bounces to the next place. So on his CV he looks wonderful because he takes a failing business that's losing money and turns it into a profitable business. But what he does at the same time is alienate all the staff, and that's when the business starts to fail by death of 1,000 cuts, because the staff are unhappy. And he leaves walking out the door going, there we go, done my job. And the directors think he's wonderful, but he doesn't know how to treat people. And that is what you get with a government that privatises things. It's the same thing. They don't know how to treat the people, and they don't know how to look after them because they don't care. They're privatising it. It's out of their hands. It's, you know, in somebody else's hands, and it's all about the money. You need to take learning Russian seriously. You know how it is here in the UK with our migrants who've been here for a lifetime and still don't speak real understand English. Do you know, yeah, Memsy Smith, you are 100% right. I spend 10 or 15 minutes every day, and it's nowhere near enough, not even close. And I will be taking it a lot more seriously. But it is very difficult for me. Yes, I am on visa. I speak 3 languages. I speak, I think, hang on, let me count. I can't. I'm going with 4 or 5. English, Scottish, Irish. I was going to say Welsh, and then I realised no chance, I can't even understand, let alone speak. American and Australian. May I ask if you are a language teacher? You're asking me? You can't be asking me that, Miss Mouse. May I ask if you're a language teacher? If not, how many languages do you speak and how fluent are you? You're definitely not asking me that, are you? If you are, you've not been watching, have you? No, I can't speak English, God's sake. So, yeah, no, I am definitely not a language teacher. I can talk a lot of gobbledygook. Don't know what language that is. No, not a teacher. I'm fluent in 3 languages. Ah, speaking of Bemsy, see, that makes more sense. See, that's a lot more sensible. You're funny. What, funny peculiar or funny ha-ha? Forget about being a perfectionist, just go for it. Unfortunately, I am. The industry I was in required that level of perfection to be, you know, the industry I was in, I was very successful in, without blowing my own trumpet, because I was a perfectionist. It is, I would say, one of the worst things, because you spend a lot of your life being unhappy until you learn that nothing is ever perfect, and until you learn to accept a certain level. And as a perfectionist, you can't do that because it has to be perfect. And it's a terrible thing because nothing is ever perfect, so you're always unhappy. You're always looking at something from a negative. You never look at the positive side of things. It's a horrible thing, it really is, in all aspects of your life. You know, I've done a lot of things in my life, and everything I've had the same mentality of trying to be perfect. So it's always been a struggle. But the last few years, I did learn that it doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be not an acceptable level, but it needs to exceed the expectation, but not necessarily be perfect. Because perfection really, does it exist? Let's be honest. And I became a lot happier when I learnt to accept a level that wasn't perfect. So, yeah, I'm better than I was. Forget about being perfect. Yes, sorry. Yeah, you were asking Bemsy Smith. Yeah, see, I'm too thick to work that out. I had to read down there to see that you were speaking to Bimsy Smith, not me. Funny, haha. Perfection is not needed when speaking a new language. Perfectionism is holding you back. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. OCD as well? No. I don't have to go and turn the light switch on 10 times and all of that. I haven't got OCD in any way, shape or form, I don't think. Perfectionism isn't OCD. It's just trying to strive to do or be the best. Whether it's for recognition from your peers or whether it's just you. For me, it was always my internal drive. I wanted to be the best that I could be. I wanted to give the best account of me, and it's challenging. It really is. Perfectionism is blinking hard work, and so utterly tired. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. Yeah, I agree. Car engines and languages are 2 totally different worlds. I agree with. Don't try to be perfect, just speaking some champagne might help. I haven't got any here. Well, they have. They've got stuff in bottles that's got champagne written on it. I won't be drinking it, I'll tell you that. I will be going to London soon for a nice dinner with some of my pals. And I won't be touching the wine or the champagne. I may have the odd Guinness. And I do quite like a White Russian. Drink before you start. How many times you was steadied in LI6? So I've deliberately horlicksed that statement, and if you're from the UK, you know exactly what I mean by what I've just said there. Yeah, yeah. I must be what is it? A Putin puppet, I think is the terminology. What baffles me the most is how people fall for the garbage that these absolute morons come out with. I mean, some things for me in life have always been so painfully obvious, and you know, I've had many instances where I, you know, borderline screaming and just going, for God's sake, you can see that it is this. And I have learnt that sometimes I do see things that others don't, and it's not because I'm a genius. It's just maybe I look at things from a different perspective. I don't know, but I've learnt that. And I do see things from a different perspective, and sometimes things are just painfully obvious to me that may not be to other people. But I do struggle with how people believe, especially given the amount of crap that they have absorbed over the last 2.5 years of this has happened and this has happened, and then it's been proved that it was all rubbish. And still they sucker into it, and still they sucker into it, and it's, you know, it's like the, what is it, the latest game changer weapon that was being used. You know, you had whatever you had. I won't go into it, but you understand what I'm saying. You know, this is the game changer, and when it wasn't, well, there's another one. This is the game changer, and people buy into it every single time. Well, why can't people just see with their own eyes? You know, but it's because we're lazy. We're too bone idle. Won't go and look. Orderly. No, I'm not that either. No, I'm just, if I choose, I think the best way to describe it is if I try to do, or I choose to do something, I try to make it as good as I possibly can. I don't just go, yeah, that'll do. I've learnt to be a bit more forgiving, but it's been a struggle. I always try and give a good account of myself, and whatever I've put my mind to, I've tried to be the best at it. Please quickly. No. It's my train set, pilot. I shall play with it how I want. Ask me a question now, and I'll give you the answer tomorrow. When I first hear the Russian word for good, there was no way I could say it, so I just kept replaying it in my head, and eventually my tongue, mouth and lips could pronounce it. Okay. I don't know what it is. I go maybe with Pizdata, and I didn't say the other D because that's naughty. I did get it wrong once, but I don't anymore. And if you speak Russian, you know what I mean. The word that I really struggle with is Здравствуйте, and still probably butcher it, but I could not get my tongue to do the ZD. You know, that's how it sounds. I don't know if that's how it's spelt, but that's how it sounds, and I could not get my tongue to do it. No matter, I just sat there saying it over and over like an absolute chimp. So yeah, you know, and that's, you know, that's the basic greeting, isn't it? So if you can't say that, you're can't wait for the video of your hometown. Well, you know, you ain't got high hopes. It would be interesting to see the current UK state and compare. I think you'd be in for a shock, Nikolai. You might not be. I don't know. But certainly when I went to Russia, people asked me, you know, oh, what's your town like? You know, and I had a couple of videos and I showed them, and certainly, you know, their face was, you know, couldn't believe it. You obviously did not have a torture called phonetics lesson. Headphones and microphones trying to pronunciate either English, the, or French. No. Closest I got to phonetics was the phonetic alphabet. It's part of my job, so you know that. How come you are still watching and still in the chat? You were so unhappy with the way the stream is being run. Do you know what? I will say with text, things can always be misinterpreted. Remember, communication with human beings is mostly visual. And that's why in the business that I was in, we did not accept text as a form of communication because it lacks so much. And certainly if you watch my live streams, I think I'm very visual. You know, I can say a lot with my face without actually speaking. So I don't take too much stock in the text. You know, if it comes across as slightly offensive, you know, I'll just sort of bounce it off a bit. You can tell when somebody's just being an arse, and they disappear. Yeah, maybe he fell out of a hotel window. Just keep playing the word over and over in your head. You'll eventually be able to pronounce it. Yeah, yeah. Try to say quickly. Peace deaf. Peace deaf. Near bird and peace door. Near bird and peace door. Barley. Bear channel. So hometown is next. So I've got another Sochi video to upload, which was a walk back through the pedestrian precinct, just with me commenting something slightly different, seeing the pedestrian precinct but in reverse, and a good bit of the train, and I've got a hotel. I think I've got 3 or 4 videos to upload. I don't know whether to do them in chronological order. Look at me. Or just what you do you know what do you guys think? What should I do? Do you want to see the hometown, or do you want them in chronological order? Do you want the Sochi one next? Doesn't matter to me, really. Let me know what you want to see. I should really put the light on so I can actually see what I wrote down on my little list. Bear with. Yes, so I do want to say thank you to some people. I want to say thank you to a very good friend of mine who has lent me some transport while we're in the UK, which has been great. So you know who you are. If you're watching this, Lee, thank you. Really appreciate that. It's a big help having some wheels, and also to our friends who we're staying with. Again, thank you so much for inviting us into your home, letting us invade it, feeding us, and giving us somewhere to stay. So that's a sign of friendship. You know, that's when you know you've got some friends. So, you know, I really do appreciate you both. Thank you. Thank you. Bedtime, is it, Bemsy? Nearly 10 p.m. here in London. Enjoy your stay in the UK. Thank you, sir. There were some very, very bad Russian swear words encrypted, especially for Brits. You may ask your wife what they mean or no. I got tricked with this the other day, actually. Matt, if you're watching this now or you're watching it on replay, he told me to say something, you know, like we all do. We play little tricks, and he told me to say something to my wife, and she just burst out laughing. And apparently I was saying she had a nice rack, or, you know, if you're American you'll understand that. If you're UK, nice boobs, apparently, something like that. I didn't know what I was saying. I'm just stupid enough to go along with it. I'm not a miss. I am a Mrs., not sir. Okay, apologies for that. Bimsy Smith just sounds very. It sounds old school British Army. That's what it sounds like to me. And that again shows my level of ignorance. So I'm really sorry. I will forget that. So please feel free to be offended next time you come on the stream and let me know. It's okay to be offended, and it's certainly okay to let me know. But I am useless. I forget I forget what day of the week. I forget literally everything. There's nothing I remember apart from numbers. For some reason I remember numbers. I think I'm autistic. I have a very strange way of remembering things. My brain remembers stuff in a very strange way. Puts it in places in a room, on shelves. That's how I remember. I won't go into that, but I'm on the scale. I think I'm on the spectrum. Do you plan to visit a doctor who suggested you do an operation and show him her results? Do you know what? That's something I haven't thought about. But to what end? You know, what would be the purpose of that? Is it going to educate him? No. I mean, at the end of the day, the particular consultant is a very good consultant. If they don't have the treatment available, he can't prescribe it. So I don't blame, I don't blame the consultant, the NHS, for not treating me. If they don't have that knowledge or that medicine, then they can't prescribe it, they can't do anything. They can only do what they can do. Yeah, I think romantically, I'd like to think that I could go along there and say, hey, look, and the romantic part of that would be that he would go, oh my God, we're going to save loads of patients, and the reality is, it's the NHS, their hands are tied. It starts at the beginning and it finishes at the end, and it is what it is. So there we go. What's the time, people? It's 10 to 10. Okay, let's go another 10 minutes or so. I think I've bored you long enough. So yeah, if you've got anything that you want to throw in, if you're a watcher and you're a lurker and not a typer, then just type. Just ask me something. There's plenty of people watching. If you're curious about Russia, ask. Now's the time. Ask a question. What have you got to lose? There we go. I'm new here. Why did you choose to move to your wife in Russia and vice versa? So I met my wife in the UK. She was living in the UK, and we met in the UK, and yeah, we went to Russia on holiday. She had a flat in Russia, so we had a very, very cheap holiday. That's why we went, and it was the most humbling and rewarding experience I think I've had in my life, and it really did open my eyes to my ignorance of the rest of the world, and it was before obviously the current situation, and I just was blown away by the hospitality, how warm and friendly people are in Russia, how nice everybody was to me, and how proud they are of their country. You can tell that when the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, what do you think of Russia? Curious about, some Russians I've met are curious about the UK, and they still are. And, this will come as a shock to some people. It may not, because I have said it before, but if you go into shopping centres, you will find clothing shops that are selling clothes that are very westernised, New York baseball caps, or Brooklyn, or t-shirts that are saying American flag t-shirts, Union Jacks, all of this kind of stuff, which you won't find in the UK. I guarantee you won't find a shop in the UK that's selling a Russian flag, or Moscow as a cap or anything like that, will you? Different people. Do not, I can't speak for every Russian. I'm sure there are Russians out there that, if they were watching me now, would be hating me because I'm English, and I get that. I totally get that, especially if you've had a family member in the current situation lost at the hands of our government and what it's done. I totally understand. But generally, they're not wired like that. You know, their attitude is, and I'm speaking about Russians here, their attitude is, what have you done to me? Why should I hate you? I don't know you. You haven't done anything to me. Your government might be unpleasant, but you haven't done anything to me. And that is, I wish the rest of the world could work like that and understand that. I really do. How many Brits are you planning to make envious by showing photos and videos of your house in a Napa? About the price of its construction. Do you know, I'm not... It's my house, you know, I love my house. I get what you're saying, Miss Mouse. I'm not showing it to make people jealous or envious. I'm not trying to be the, hey, look at me, because there's always somebody better. There's always someone that's got something better. You know, we've got a 3-bedroom house at the end of the day. We're not living in a mansion with staff. We're happy with our house. We've built it how we wanted it. And certainly by UK standards, I've got a lovely house. Definitely. But is it, in the top line? No. I mean, some of the people we know, we operate in a different universe. So there's definitely a lot better. So yeah, price about the construction again. I mean, I've done a video on this. I don't see that it's relevant. It probably cost, I don't know, 12 million rubles, 14 million, something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because we paid for the base house, and then when we changed stuff, there was additional cost for the changes, obviously. So it was all different payments along the way. So, I could total it up, but I just wouldn't bother, just because it's irrelevant. As I've explained in the video, it's just not relevant to anybody. That price, you couldn't build that house for that price today, because we started building it 3 years ago. Prices have gone up, so it is irrelevant. But as I've said before, value-wise, if you wanted to buy the house, between 15 and 20 million is a guess. We haven't had it valued because it's our home. We've got no intention of selling it. My American and Australian friends will never leave Russia. Safety and way of life is worth all the money in a real rat race. Yeah. Yeah. I think if you'd gone back 10 years in the UK, maybe the change wouldn't be, or the difference wouldn't be as dramatic. I think it still would be dramatic, but I don't think it would be as separate, because I think Russia was probably at a lower level than it is now. And I think Britain certainly was at a higher level than it is now. But, where it was like this, I think it has now done this. So, yeah, certainly for me, I love Russia. I've got to say, I do. I really do. I really do, genuinely. 100% genuinely mean that. I'm homesick. I call it home. I miss it. I miss not being there. So, yeah. Okay, pilot players resorted to abusing me in Russian because he knows I can't read it. However, what I can do is translate it when the stream ends. And if I translate it and find that it's unpleasant, it will be the last stream that you're in. Do you feel that you have a reverse culture shock now? Accent is a Scottish Welsh. No, my accent isn't a Scottish or Welsh. Definitely not. Any English person, sorry, Miss Mouse, I'll get back to you in a sec. Any English person can pretty much do the dialects across the country, because our country's not very big. Goes into Russia 60 plus times. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a tiny little speck. And we've got lots of dialect across the country, and you don't have to travel that far to hear different accents. So most English people understand the different accents across the country, and not necessarily understand everything that's said, but understand it to a degree. I certainly haven't got a Scottish accent. I've got a southeastern accent, I suppose. It's got a twang of the West Country, because I was born in the West Country. So originally I'd be talking like that, more like from Devon and stuff, which I kind of revert back to a little bit if I go to Devon. I start talking and rolling a bit. I don't know why, I just do. And if I go to London, where my family's from, then I start speaking a little bit more. So I think I'm sort of a bit of a, I was going to say a hybrid to make myself sound good, but it's a mongrel, isn't it, really? That's what it is. Do you feel like you have a reverse culture shock now? I've got to be honest, Miss Mouse, I don't fully understand the question. Not entirely sure. I'm assuming, and that is an arse of you and me, as you know, that going to Russia has been, you know, a big culture shock compared to what I'm used to here in the UK. And if that's what you mean, the answer is 100% yes. But you must remember I'm thick with a capital F, so you need to make your questions a little bit more precise. Would you wear I Love Russia t-shirt in your hometown in England? Great question, Sailor, and no. And that's sad. That's really sad. But I absolutely understand that in this culture and this country, there will be somebody that will try something. And I don't need the hassle. And yeah, that's a cop-out. But the simple answer is no, because this society isn't open to reason. It's not open to... I would love to be able to put a booth, you know, a little table, and put a sign on, come and ask me about Russia, and sit down there and just sit and show people videos and show people pictures and say and answer their questions. And honestly, you know, just say, look, this is really clean and the food's great. However, you know, the roads aren't wonderful in certain places, and, you know, and be honest and have an honest conversation with people. But they're not ready for that here. They've been too politicised and too propaganded, if that's a word. And they're just not ready for it. And there's an awful lot of hate because they've been told to hate, and, you know, we're a nation of haters because we're told to hate people. And there's also a lot of undesirables in this country that may have come from a certain area. And I know that to be true, that have a very, 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 very bad attitude. So, no. In fact, I went to the dentist before I left to go to Russia. And the dentist was Greek and the assistant, the hygienist, was Polish. I won't be going back. Yeah. Not, you know, I didn't tell them anything about Russia. Just went in and their conversation went straight to that topic, and it was just hate. And I like to let people that like to talk, I like to let them talk. And so, yeah. Yeah, I won't be going back. My parting words were, and this is, I've said this a lot to people that start trying to preach, my parting words were, oh, okay, when was the last time you were in Russia? And the answer from both was, well, I've never been. You just, I'm sorry, if that's your response, if somebody says to you, when were you last in Russia? And your response is, I've never been, but you are shouting about how bad Russia is. I'm sorry, you're a moron. You're just an idiot. You're just a sheep. You're just a brainless moron. If that's your response. And you need to go and educate yourself because you're making yourself look stupid. And I'm not directing that at anybody on this channel. I'm just saying, if somebody said to you about something and you're spouting on about Russia from a point of never being there, other than what the media has told you, you're an idiot, because you should always do your own research and have both sides of the coin to make a decision. Hey, that's exactly what you're already doing, just YouTube instead of a table on the ball. Yeah, that's all I can do. And that's what I'm trying to do, Miss Mouse. You're exactly right. That's exactly what this channel is. It is just trying to give people some information. That's all, and let them make their own mind up about things. You know, various bits of information. Plandanita, Anapa, yes. Just outside of Anapa, about 15 minutes. Vlad, yeah, brilliant symbols. No idea what you said. Probably can translate this stuff somehow. This stuff. Oh, what a peasant. The Russian language, I mean. Well, I've got to be careful, because I can do all sorts of things to you now, Vlad, while I'm looking at this opened box. Remove, delete, incinerate, blow up, electrify, put user in timeout. That's like going on the naughty step, isn't it? You can click a button and put them in timeout. No, it won't let me translate. So, but you know, I will go through the chat, and yeah. Are you love use parents? Do you mean, do I love my parents? Do you mean, are you, as in Russia, love you? Sorry. Pilot plate, I don't know what you mean. Apologies. Yeah, maybe you could rephrase that. I've only got one living parent, if that is directed to me. My mum's still alive, bless her. My dad died 30 years ago. Tomorrow. Right, well, it doesn't look like, it looks like I've caught up with the chat, so that could be a good point at which to say goodnight to everyone. Yeah, it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed coming on and asking some questions and seeing what we're going on about. Good to see you do this live, thank you. My pleasure. Do you was Belize before Russia? Nope, not sure about that. You're welcome, thank you. Yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Please join my Telegram channel if you've got any questions, if you want to speak to me, and I'll do my best to answer it. We'll do more lives. I'm certainly going to be uploading some more videos over the next few days. Some of the ones that I took in Russia before I left, and some new ones from the UK. So keep watching. Please share the channel. Please, you know, the more people that can see another side to Russia, I think the better for everyone, for all of us, let's face it. Thank you and good night. Good night, everyone. And stay safe wherever you are. What TV show was that? I digress. Good night all, and I'll see you in the next one.